welcome to Celebrating Culture. We're here in New Orleans with the Saenger Theatre and with Lena Prima. Lena, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charles.
You know, it's so great to be here with you because your great-grandfather and my great-grandmother both came from Sala Peruta, Italy, or Sicily, as we like to say. And they ended up here in that great migration from 1890 to 1920.
Yeah.
And then your dad is born in 1910.
Right.
That jazz, swing sound comes out of here, and this is where he gets started.
This is where he got started. He was playing the trumpet at that time, and he was on Bourbon Street where the jazz clubs were at that time. And he wanted to be a jazz man. But there was an orchestra here at the Saenger Theatre, and the leader of the orchestra, his name was Lou Forbes, discovered my dad and wanted to hire him. They were going to start these new variety shows with costumes and dancers and set changes, and they wanted him to be the leader of those shows.
Well, your dad, he was such a leader in the theatrics. He brought such a level.
He had so much charisma, and I guess Lou saw that in him and figured that would work for what they were doing here at the Saenger.
Your grandmother sang. Your grandmother comes over, she's singing, your dad grows up into it. He has a great career, but it's hard getting going. I mean, he struggled.
First of all, growing up in New Orleans where, you know, playing music was pretty much a requirement. I mean, everybody played music. He said himself that when a child met another child for the first time, they would say, "Hello, what do you play?" That was their first words to each other. So he grew up chasing following the trucks where the bands were playing to advertise dances, seeing Louis Armstrong and Leon Rapolo, Kid Ory. He loved all those musicians, and so he grew up with that influence. As his family, they used to sit in their car outside the churches, the gospel, and listen to the singing, and sit outside the clubs and listen to the music coming out. And so he grew up listening to all the great music and culture that was happening in New Orleans.
Well, and the Sicilian and the African American communities were living side by side.
As well as Germans and other Irish and other cultures. It was a melting pot.
But literally, your dad's house was close to Congo Square.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I mean. Like, he was there on Sundays.
Absolutely.
He was right where the Congo was.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was influenced by all that. And of course, developed his own style along with the Italian influence. You know, people actually call his music Italian swing or Italian jazz. Yeah.
So he gets going here and then he leaves for New York.
Yeah, he went from here to New York to try to become famous because that's what everyone did, that New York was the place to go. So he went, his mother wanted him to come back. So she thought he was too young to go to New York. So he did come back, but he ended up going there. The famous door with the club where he became famous first.
Is there a street there named Swing Street?
Well, it is. It was 52nd Street, but they named it Swing Street because of the trend that my dad started. Well, he went to Hollywood before he went to Vegas. He was in some movies with Bing Crosby, Martha Raye, Lucille Ball's first appearance on film. My dad was in that movie with her. So he filmed and became friends with Walt Disney, Clark Gable, all those Hollywood stars. And then he had an engagement in Vegas, and he was actually going to follow Cab Calloway into the Sahara for a 2-week engagement in the lounge. And Cab called him and said, "Louis, don't come here. It's dead. It's bad. You're not going to like it. Don't come here." But all the stars followed my dad to Vegas from Hollywood, and he ended up.
And you know, looking at the photographs, really Vegas is just getting going, so they struggled, and your dad is one of the first people to go there.
Yes, in fact, they credited him with Vegas becoming the entertainment capital of the world because of what he started. The 2-week engagement ended up lasting 9 years, and he had, of course, Keely Smith, who was his fourth wife. And Sam Butera, who was also from New Orleans. He brought the New Orleans sound and style and the party and the fun and that music.
It's a great story. You told me about Sing, Sing, Sing.
Yeah, he got the inspiration for the song watching the horses race at Santa Anita. And he named the song Sing, Bing, Sing at first because he loved Bing Crosby. That was his favorite singer. He wanted to sing like Bing. But the inspiration was really the horses racing around the track. And when you hear that song, the drums and the urgency and all, it does. It sounds like a horse race. Italian Americans are so proud of my dad still to this day. You know, at that time, it was not really cool to be Italian because of what happened with Hitler and Mussolini. But he never changed his name, and he always recorded Italian songs, words about Italian lifestyle. He really stuck to his heritage, and that started a trend with Italian fashions and food and in New York.
You, though, came back to New Orleans.
Well, I always felt a connection with New Orleans. I did grow up here as a kid, too, as well as Las Vegas, where I was born, but I felt a strong connection to New Orleans always, and I wanted to come back for a long time.
You got jewelry?
I do. I have a jewelry line. It's lenaprimajewelry.com, and then my website that has my music schedule is lenaprima.com.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Anytime, Charles. I could talk about Italian heritage all day.
We'll be right back with more of Celebrating Culture.
I should stay away, but what can I do? Flames.
Flame, burn inside.
Only your kiss.
Put out the fire.
Very good, Charles.
I can get this if I want to know the music a little bit. Give me the sheet music.
In a spin, loving the spin I'm in, under the old black magic called love. Big finish, under the old black magic called love.